எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். We will begin with the invocation song, the Tamil Thai Varthu.
திங்களமும் அதிசிறந்த திராவிடர்கள் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் வணங்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனே தமிழனே உன் சீரிழமை நிரம்பியந்த செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
வெல்ல தனைய மலர் நீட்டம் மாந்தர்த்தம் உள்ள தனையது உயிர்வு. Flower stems can only grow depending on how deep the water is. Likewise, people's growth depends on the depth of their minds. எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். Hello everyone. My name is Sneha Muthaya and I am so honored to be the chair of Sastha Tamil Foundation's Youth Leadership Club. Sastha Tamil Foundation, or STF, is a non-profit organization founded in 2010 by Mr. Raman Velu and Mrs. Visalakshi Velu. Mr. Velu is a successful realtor, investment consultant, and a passionate life coach. He also advocates for Tamil culture. They are also the founders of Plano Tamil School, and during this 20th year, the school caters to nearly 400 students. STF has also hosted annual Tirukkural and Avai Amudam competitions for 13 years now. Just over a month ago, STF began what is known as Sastha Tamil Foundation's Youth Leadership Club. For those of you that don't know, STF YLC is a branch of Sastha Tamil Foundation geared toward teenagers to provide leadership opportunities for us. It includes multiple different activities in multiple different fields that we can do to help us be successful in the future. One of the things I am proud to say it involves is Tamil. Being a Tamil-based organization, STF YLC helps the current youth become more comfortable with the language so we can carry it on to future generations. We discuss poems, videos, and speeches in depth so we can learn life lessons through the language. We are also granted the chance to volunteer in the classrooms of Plano Tamil School. Many of the members of STF YLC have actually graduated from PTS and are now going back to dedicate their time to helping younger kids learn Tamil. My favorite thing about the club is probably the freedom you get and the possibilities that you're exposed to. We have so many different opportunities, from fundraising and marketing to managing technology backstage to guest speakers and presentations on life skills. We've already been able to try multiple things. Even though the club just started over a month ago, I'm thrilled at how far we've already developed. We still have a lot we can do, and we have a lot already planned for the future of the club. One of the things is hosting this event. I'm proud to say that STF YLC is hosting this portion of Sastha Tamil Foundation's 10th annual fundraiser, COVIDhya Dhanam. Today, we'll be featuring Philanthropy kids to talk about philanthropy for us teenagers, a briefing on the cause of this year's fundraiser, and 3E Gen Z to talk about the mentorship program they have. Without further ado, thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy today's session. Hrithikeshwar Sriram will be introducing our first guest.
Nandri Sneha. Allorukum Vanakam. Hello everyone. I would like to start with the Tirukkural. Kalam karudi irupar, kalangade, nyalam karudupavar. What this Tirukkural means is successful entrepreneurs keep looking for the right opportunity and grab it when it comes their way. I was fortunate enough to be instilled with the importance and value of volunteering, service, and entrepreneurship at a young age. However, this is not the case for many people. Many are unaware of the importance of entrepreneurship, service, and volunteering. But PAVE Philanthropy and Volunteerism in Entrepreneurship, a program from Philanthropy Kids, a nonprofit organization, is here to introduce the concept of entrepreneurship and philanthropy to children and inspire them to continue to apply what they've learned as they grow older. But their goals don't stop there, as their vision is to nurture and develop the next generation of philanthropic leaders. Today, we have with us Mrs. Rani Banerjee and Mr. Amit Banerjee from Philanthropy Kids to inspire every child to become a philanthropy kid. Rani Banerjee is an entrepreneur, educator, and philanthropist. She's passionate about empowering children and has worked in various capacities to promote a love of learning in children. Amit Banerjee is the founder and CEO of Philanthropy Kids. He spends his free time volunteering with various charities and nonprofits focusing on hunger, education, and more. So please join me in welcoming Mrs. Rani Banerjee and Mr. Amit Banerjee from Philanthropy Kids.
Thanks, Rithikesh, and thank you to the Sasta Tamil Foundation for having us today. We're really excited to talk to you guys today about philanthropy and social entrepreneurship, especially how teenagers and young adults can be philanthropists and social entrepreneurs. And so thank you all for this opportunity, and let's get started. My name is Amit Banerjee. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Philanthropy Kids. Philanthropy Kids is a nonprofit that is dedicated to celebrating and inspiring philanthropy in youth. We do this through a variety of different ways. We have magazine publications, both digital and print, and we have education programs. And one of our flagship education programs, which we'll actually talk about later in the presentation, is PAVE. And actually, Rani Banerjee serves as our PAVE president. She'll come in later during the presentation, but she's with us here too right now. And so we're excited to share with you what we've learned on our own, as well as what we've been able to, perfect through our work at Philanthropy Kids. So without further ado, I'd love to get on with the presentation that we have for you. Next slide, please. So I mentioned this word philanthropy, and it sounds like a mouthful, and it looks even more complicated. Philanthropy is a 12-letter word that at its core means the love of mankind. If you take the Greek stems, philos and anthropos, you get love and you get mankind. Together it means the love of mankind. Now this word is used in a lot of different contexts. A lot of times you'll hear people describe very wealthy individuals, billionaires and millionaires like Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, as philanthropists. And it kind of makes the word seem like something that a person like me or a person like you all can't achieve or attain. But when you really look at the definition of the word, it doesn't say anything about the net worth that you have to have. It means the love of man. It means the love of mankind. And there's so many different examples of how you can express and exemplify this concept of philanthropy and be a philanthropist. At Philanthropy Kids, when we try to highlight the stories of kids doing good at whatever level. We hear about really big projects and we hear about really small initiatives. And we believe that it doesn't matter. You don't have to be rich or old to be a philanthropist. You just have to care. And no act is too small or too big to be considered philanthropy. We've had people volunteer at organizations like the Humane Society or Habitat for Humanity. But we have also heard about people who have introduced a new kid at school to their friends, or held a door open for someone whose hands are full when they're coming back from the grocery store. These are things that are really small and things that we can do on a pretty fairly regular basis, whether it's day to day or on the weekends. There's a way for us to do small acts of philanthropy throughout our life. We also can do larger examples of philanthropy. through different projects, whether it's fundraising projects or creating organizations. And we'll talk more about what those can look like. But we've had people submit stories to Philanthropy Kids magazine where they, had a lemonade stand and sold lemonade and raised money so that way they could fund prosthetic limbs at a local hospital. Or, and we have alumni from our education program, PAVE, who created an organization called Paper for Water, and they actually make origami ornaments, sell them, and with the money that they raise, build wells in third world countries. Now, introducing your friend to, introducing the new kid at school to your friends and creating wells in third world countries seem extremely different. But at its core, they're both driven by this idea of philanthropy and the love of mankind and caring for one another's. And so that's what that word means at its core. And that is kind of what drives my life, the rest of the people on staff at Philanthropy Kids, and the people that we try to interact with on a daily basis. A lot of the ways that people can express philanthropy in a very simple way is through nonprofits. And a lot of you have probably heard this this word nonprofit organization over and over again. You might have volunteered with a nonprofit organization. And it's important to understand what that distinction means. When you call an organization a nonprofit, or when a nonprofit says, "Hi, we are a nonprofit organization," what does that mean for the what does that mean for you as a volunteer or a participant in their program, and what does that mean for the people working at the nonprofit? Basically, what a nonprofit organization is a specific type of company or business that doesn't generate profit, meaning all of the money that they make through, membership fees or selling T-shirts or whatever is reinvested into the organization. So if they're a nonprofit that has a mission to make sure that no animal goes without a home, all the money that they raise through their different programs need to go towards furthering that mission. And so that's simply put what a nonprofit organization is. And there's an agency of the government called the IRS, which designates different tax codes to organizations. And these nonprofit organizations that are charitable in nature and do not turn a profit are given the distinction of a 501c3 organization. And so what that means is if someone wants to donate money to a 501c3 organization, the money that they spend on that gift is not taxed, and it's called It's called a tax deductible contribution. So what's really nice about that is you can, if you go to the grocery store and buy, some macaroni and cheese, you're going to be paying a sales tax on that item. But if you give that same amount of money to a nonprofit, you don't have to pay any extra tax on it. And so it's really nice for people when they want to give money away to have that extra incentive to give that money. So that's a little bit about nonprofits, and kind of the reason that nonprofits came into existence was because there originally were two main industries. One was the for-profit industry or the private industry, where you had companies that were, selling everything from food to clothing to medical services to whatever, but they were for-profit private companies. And then you had government agencies, which were part of the public sector. And they were, run by elected officials, and they were providing different social services. But people quickly realized that with the private sector and with the public sector, there were still a lot of needs that the community was facing that weren't addressed by the private solutions and the public solutions. So a third sector was created called the nonprofit sector. And that's where we find nonprofit organizations like the American Heart Association, the Gates Foundation, and so on and so on. So that, in a nutshell, is what nonprofit organizations are. And if you want to exercise philanthropy, try to find a way to get involved in one of those. And we'll talk more in detail about how you can do that moving forward later on in the presentation. The next thing I want to bring up is the idea of social entrepreneurship. Now, many of you have heard the phrase entrepreneurship because there are a lot of different success stories of entrepreneurs. We've heard of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg being entrepreneurial and creating their own major technology companies. And if you guys ever watch the show Shark Tank, you see all these entrepreneurs that have started their businesses and want to they created a new organization that sells a product or a service and generates money or revenue, and ultimately creates a profit. Now, what differentiates social entrepreneurship from entrepreneurship in general is that the goal is to create a new product or organization and have that product or organization fulfill some kind of social need. So nonprofit organizations have a mission statement, and that mission statement can be a variety of different things. And what these social enterprises are, they are examples of organizations or companies that are trying to make a profit because that's the way that their business plan and their business model works. But they also have a goal of making sure that they are creating social impact. So a lot of times you hear examples of companies like Tom's Shoes or Warby Parker that have a buy one, give one model. When you buy a pair of Tom's Shoes donates a pair in your name to someone in a third world country that doesn't have shoes. Similarly, Warby Parker, when you buy a pair of their glasses, Warby Parker donates a pair of glasses and vision services to people in third world countries that don't have easy access to vision healthcare and that experience. So these are examples of companies that are making profit, but their goal is beyond just making the profit. It's making sure that they can actively make they can make a social and environmental change. And so that's kind of the difference between entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. And social entrepreneurship has really gained a lot of popularity in the past couple of years because people want to make sure that whatever they're doing, whatever they're involved in, has meaning behind it. And creating a social enterprise has an easy answer to that. So you have people that create nonprofit organizations, and you have people that create for-profit businesses that have a social, that address a social need. And they're both driven by entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are people who create something new and innovative to address some kind of need in the market. So that's a little bit about philanthropy and nonprofit organizations, as well as social entrepreneurship. The next thing I want to talk about is how this stuff relates to you. If we can go to the next slide, we're talking about giving, we're talking about doing things in your community, but it's hard to find out what you have to give, especially if you are a young person. You don't have, if you don't have a full-time job where you're, making enough money to not only live your life, but also give away. You're in school, you have all these, things that you are working on, and you don't have all of the time or you don't have all these resources to just write checks out to whatever causes come your way. So you have to think about what you can give based on what is available to you. And I like to break it down into 3 different categories. One is time, one is talent, and one is treasure. And they are each things that you young people can actively, execute. And especially as you grow, you can find new ways to explore how those things fit into your daily lifestyle. So we can start with time. Donating time is basically making yourself available to different opportunities that nonprofits have, or volunteer experiences that nonprofits provide. This can be anything like volunteering to serve meals at a homeless shelter, or taking care of animals at an animal shelter, or stocking shelves at a food pantry. There are opportunities that are available where they say, "Hey, we need your help. Can you come by and help us out?" And you simply say, "Yes, I'll be there. Tell me what I need to do." That's donating time, and that's something that has a really low bar or barrier to entry, and pretty much everyone can do that, because it doesn't matter how much money you make. Everyone has the time to give. The second thing is talent. A lot of times you want to give your time, but you know that there are things that you can do that could really help an organization. And if you notice that if you, for some reason, have a lot of experience building websites, and you know that the SPCA that's near your house doesn't have a very good website, and you say, "Hey, I want to donate my talent, and at no cost, I want to help you revamp your website and make it a lot cooler and make it easier for people to come and learn about your organization or make donations. I want to help you out." Or, and this is, for when you're further along in your career, if you have experience in the legal field, if you're a lawyer or an attorney, and you want to say, "Hey, I know, like, you are a nonprofit, and a lot of times if you ever need legal help, and you need to talk to a lawyer, come talk to me, and I'll do it free of charge. I want to make sure that I help out this organization and this cause, and I donate my talent." So that's another way of donating your talent. And what's nice about that is it removes the challenge for the nonprofit to have to go find someone to fulfill their needs, because someone is coming and saying, "Hey, I know you have this need. Let me solve it for you." So that's talent. We've talked about time. We've talked about talent. The last thing is treasure. And this is kind of the thing that when people hear about charity and giving, they think, "Oh, I have to give money." That's not the only way to give, but it definitely is one of the most popular ways for people to get involved. Donating money and different resources is extremely helpful to organizations, because every nonprofit that you can think of, whether it's the American Red Cross, or whether it's the local food pantry in your neighborhood, around your neighborhood, there is a lot of different costs that go into just running the organization, whether it's making sure that they are bringing in enough canned foods, or making sure that they have enough pens and staplers in their offices. And when you make a financial contribution, or you organize a fundraiser, you are helping them make sure that they can last another day fulfilling their mission of whether providing medical services during natural disasters, in the case of the American Red Cross, or in the case of that local food pantry, they can make sure that they have enough food to give out to people who need it. So time, talent, treasure, there's always ways for you to give. You just have to find out which one of those three is the best fit for you. So that's what can I give. If we go to the next slide, we can talk about, like, we know what we want to give. How do we start? And if you look at this diagram, it kind of shows that we are looking for a way to combine our passions and the needs that exist in a community to identify where we are needed and where we can be the most effective philanthropists. With the passion, that can be something that you like to do or that you have a really strong interest in. I know people who are passionate about basketball. They love playing basketball. They'd never miss an NBA game. And they are just fanatics about it. I know people who love building things with their hands. And so they are constantly, doing little projects at home and working with maybe building robots or building Lego sets or whatever it might be. And then I know some people really like reading, and so they are constantly reading books. Those are examples of passions that people have, and that's extremely important to identify within yourself. What are the things that you care about and you love spending your time doing? And the second step is identifying in your community what are the needs that exist. If you do research about what does homelessness look like in my city, what does hunger look like in my city, what does poverty look like in my city, what does racial inequality look like in my city, there are a lot of different things that exist, a lot of different needs, and the next part, once you identify those needs, once you identify your passions, you have to find out where you fit in, and you find out how can I connect my passions with the needs that exist and spend my time practicing philanthropy. An example of this is if you liked basketball and you love it, you cannot go a day without shooting some hoops, and the next day, and then you find out that there are a lot of kids with disabilities and special needs who can't play basketball or can't have the same sports experiences as differently abled people. And you learn about an organization such as Special Olympics that helps people with disabilities and developmental disorders play sports like basketball. And you can kind of share your love of basketball while supporting this cause that exists in your community. Another example, for the person who likes building stuff with their hands, if they realize that homelessness is a huge issue in their community, they can work with Habitat for Humanity and volunteer on the weekends to build a house for those people. They can actively take advantage of the passion and the skills that they have, the talent, and address a social need. And so that's how you can fit in to this whole concept of philanthropy and be an active philanthropist. And we actually have a program called Philanthropy and Volunteerism in Entrepreneurship that helps kids and teenagers and young adults understand and identify what those passions are that make them, light up and make them so enthusiastic to do something, and then connect them with the needs of society based on where they live, and helps them make those connections, help them identify what it takes for them to be a philanthropist and do what they love while helping people in need. And so to talk more about our PAVE program and kind of where we've been with the organization and where we plan to go, I want to introduce Ronnie Banerjee, the president of PAVE, to share our story about the program.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Amit. My name is Rani Banerjee, and I am the president of the PAVE program. As Amit mentioned earlier, PAVE is our flagship educational program. And he also mentioned that I'm really, this came about because we are very passionate about community service and we enjoy working with kids. And so I'm really excited to be here today to, talk to the youth that are part of STF. And I really appreciate STF for inviting us over to share more information about Philanthropy Kids and the PAVE program. As it was mentioned earlier, PAVE stands for Philanthropy and Volunteerism in Entrepreneurship. I think one of the key focus areas for today's discussion is entrepreneurship. And in the last few minutes, Amit gave a quick, high level overview of what entrepreneurship is, what social and how and what social needs are, and how the two come together, and we have social entrepreneurship. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we incorporate that into our PAVE program and how young children, young adults can engage and become leaders in the community. So the main focus is really to celebrate and inspire philanthropy in youth, and then provide them with the right tools to help them identify what it is that they are interested in. And then Amit talked about connecting that passion, which is the interest, to the social need, and then actually coming up with a project plan, so to say, that they can work on, implement, and actually get something up and running. Whether that is focused on fundraising activities, whether it is identifying your favorite nonprofit and volunteering there, or for some, it might be actually creating their own nonprofit organization. So these are the different areas that we focus on. But let's take a step back. Okay, so what is PAVE? So PAVE is an educational program that teaches kids what philanthropy is and why philanthropy is important, and how they, as a 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or even an 18-year-old, can help in their community. We subscribe to the philosophy that you don't have to be rich or old to be a philanthropist. You just have to care. And I think today, everybody that's here as a part of this program, we are here because we care. So this is perfect. I'm so excited that, we are getting to talk about this topic, which is so important and something that we should incorporate in our day-to-day life. So we have found that when a child realizes that they have the power to help others and make a difference in somebody else's life, it gives them a sense of purpose and personal responsibility. And because of that, once they identify that purpose, once they have that sense of personal responsibility, it automatically helps them develop a better self-esteem, and it also improves their scholastic performance. And so this is the basis of what PAVE is. This is the reason why we started, running these PAVE workshops across, across different schools in Dallas and even in other places. So the way the program has evolved is since this has been in existence for quite some time, and actually we got involved with PAVE when Amit was in 4th grade several years back. And this is actually a case where you have a student now turn into an instructor and run the program. So we benefited, not just Amit as a student, but we as a family benefited so much from this PAVE program that we started getting more and more engaged with it. And later on, when we formed the organization Philanthropy Kids, it just made sense that we fold the PAVE program into Philanthropy Kids. And since 2012, we have run several summer camps every year in the Dallas area. And next slide, please. We've also had the fortune to, gather a group of volunteers and travel overseas to conduct workshops at several international destinations. We have done PAVE workshops in Spain, in Mexico, in Haiti, Costa Rica, and Nepal. And then just last year, we also did a workshop in Bangladesh. And then, of course, India. India, we're from India, so of course we have a connection there, and we want to make sure that we are taking this idea and spreading it among the youth in India as well. So we're very excited, especially with our India chapter and the work that we have done there. So I just want to take it one step further and talk a little bit more in detail as to what the PAVE program, what are the basic building blocks of PAVE program. And as you can see, like one of the key components is leadership and communication skills. So we all know, right, that effective leadership and effective communication are very closely intertwined. And so what is it that you can do as a youth, right? Like, so once you have an idea, once you have a vision, and if you have the ability to communicate effectively and be a good leader, then you can take that idea, you can take that vision and lead your team to the desired goal. So that is what the PAVE program focuses on. So we start with the basics, something as simple as making a good first impression. So what is that, right? When we are having a face-to-face meeting, what's the first thing that we do? Shake hands. So what is a good handshake? And it might seem trivial, but actually it is very important, because the first 30 seconds that you have with the person that you're meeting for the first time, that is your opportunity to create that impression, and you want to make a good impression and a lasting impression. So things like a firm handshake, making eye contact, maintaining good posture, these are very critical. These are the tools that you need. These are the tools that you have to effectively communicate. And in today's world, it's not just verbal communication, right? Like we do so much online, and especially in the current context, when we are pretty much in lockdown, we are at home due to the COVID situation. It's very important that we also learn how to communicate effectively online, virtually. So whether that is via email, whether that is via social media, on the phone. So all these things are important, and through PAVE we teach children how to refine those skills, how to hone in on those special areas, and how they can become better leaders and more effective communicators. And then the core of the program, right? It is about the nonprofit sector. So we talk about what is the nonprofit sector. Some of it is what Amit referred to earlier in the presentation today. But of course, we do a deeper dive when we do the PAVE program. We talk about what is it that you need to do to create your own nonprofit. And and the third thing, which is very common, is fundraising. Like what is needed to run a successful fundraiser. So what I'm saying is that through the program, the students have the opportunity to learn about nonprofits, their causes, and then once you have identified your passion, you have identified the social need, you will then research and identify nonprofits that address those specific needs and your passion. Find out like which nonprofits exist that you can engage with and work with. And there are different ways that you can engage in nonprofits, right? So for example, simple things like volunteering is very simple. So if you love books, you can volunteer at the local library. There was a very interesting thing that we heard a few years back. This was one of our students in PAVE, and this was a very, very young, very very smart kid. She was just 10 years old when she took the program, and she was passionate about reading, and she was passionate about animals. And it's funny, like I never could think that these two could be related in reading and animals. But she actually found a nonprofit organization that takes in animals who are hurt. Like it could be a horse that ran some race and got injured. It could be a dog. It could be some even a bird that broke its wing. And they take in these animals and birds, and then young kids can come in and read to them. And apparently reading has such a soothing and healing impact on the animals. Yeah, can you believe that? That's a very, very unique example of how you can get your multiple interests and align it to a social cause. So yeah, that is one thing that we focus on, that how you can volunteer. The second thing was we talked about is fundraising, right? So every organization needs funds, right? Because most nonprofits run through volunteers, and then there are some people who might be employees of the nonprofit, and nonprofits have fundraisers to raise money to not only pay their employees but also to support their causes. And one thing that I want to mention is that what is fundraising, right? Like it's going and asking people for money, and I know it can be really difficult, and that is what we do in PAVE. We teach you, give you those tools and skills, like how you can go make that phone call, or just ask somebody that, hey, this is a cause that I'm supporting, can you help out by writing a check out to this organization? And what I want to stress is that any funds that you can raise, even if it is only $50, it will help the nonprofit provide the much needed services in the community. And then the last thing is entrepreneurship, right? So if you have an idea and you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you can start your own nonprofit organization. So we teach kids, how to come up with a pitch for their idea. Because when we are talking about entrepreneurship, you may need some sponsorship, you may need some funds that have to go into the organization to get started. So we talk about how to make that initial call, or write an email to make that connection, and then finally create your own pitch, that okay, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I would like to do, and can you help? Because we can be successful with if we engage more people, the more two heads are always better than one. So if I have an idea, but if I can recruit 5 more people to support my cause, there is a better chance of me being successful. And that brings us to the last point, which is building positive friendships and networking. So, as you are going through this process of, connecting with people, you will realize that you have built a great network of like-minded individuals who are passionate about social issues, and you will meet people of all ages, you will make friends. So isn't that something that is wonderful? Isn't that something that we all want to do? All right. So that was, in a nutshell, some information about the PAVE workshop. And let's talk about a few about some success stories. And here, I want to just talk about this organization, and Amit kind of mentioned this earlier, called Paper for Water. So this was started by 2 sisters, Isabel and Catherine Adams. They were they are PAVE alumni. They were with us, I think, way back in 2013. At that time, they were like really, really young, and now they are teenagers. And let's play that video and hear about this organization.
Dad taught them the Japanese art of origami. He thought it would be a fun hobby for his daughters.
But as Isabella and Catherine Adams folded paper into art, what unfolded was an opportunity to help others. Photojournalist Mike Kinney shares the story of Paper for Water.
Let's line it up. There you go. Origami is the Japanese art of paper folding. It's just something that everybody can do. It's fine. You're going to fold it over like that. You don't have to be super gifted or skilled at it, and you can still make something extremely beautiful out of a simple sheet of paper.
Everyone's look like a mustache here.
Today we're at North Park Presbyterian Church, and it's a Paper for Water volunteering event. We have them once a month. From here, you're just going to fold this down, and then this one goes that way. My sister and I actually started Paper for Water when we were 5 and 8 years old. And we started it because we learned that girls our age often don't get to go to school because they're sick from dirty water, or because they spend their entire day hauling water. So we decided that we wanted to do something about that, and we used something that we love doing, which was origami, to make a difference in other people's lives.
Oh my gosh, look how much we have!
What we actually do is modular origami, and so instead of one piece of paper, each ornament takes usually about 30 sheets of paper. Today we're making Basetta stars. This is a finished star, and it's 30 sheets of paper. By yourself it takes an hour, but as a group it took us about 10 minutes.
It's actually getting easier.
Over the past 7 years, we've raised over $1.6 million and helped to fund over 190 water projects.
We estimate that we have positively impacted 60 to 70,000 people who now have access to clean water.
It's amazing, and it just keeps getting better every year.
It's blossomed and grown far beyond our wildest imaginations, and it's helped so many people. It is, I think, one of the most amazing feelings ever to know that you're really, truly changing people's lives.
They're amazing young girls who have a heart.
Well, if you'd like to learn how you can volunteer to help or make a donation, we have posted a link on our website at cbsdfw.com. You know, it's hard to believe that in 2019, this is still such a need in the world, but great to see that young girls like this are doing their part to help, isn't it?
Great accomplishment.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us at 4 o'clock. Thanks so much for watching. The news at 5.
Well, I have to say, wow, I have seen this video so many times. We know Catherine and Isabel very well. And they just amaze and impress us every time. And they are just going on with this. They have They have raised over $2 million so far and built wells in Africa, in India, then even in the US, in some parts of Arizona where there is a water problem, they have built, worked with organizations to build wells. So this is just a great, example of how a small idea can, become something really big. And I want to add that that is how Philanthropy Kids started. It started as a Boy Scout Eagle project, Eagle project, and then it was supposed to be a one-time thing, but then it just grew and grew. We got more interest from from the community, and we felt that there was a need that we could address, and the basic belief that if we can reach young kids and teach them the value and the meaning of philanthropy, we will have a giver for life. So that is why today, all the youth out there who are listening to us, I would encourage you to get involved. Start small, do big. You never know, where it can take you. But this is a great opportunity for us to all kind of make, get together and make a difference in the community. And then I want to give you, can we go to the next slide, please? I just want to tell you, I just want to re-emphasize that volunteering can be fun and you can really do great things together. So last February, actually, this was like February 2019, we took a group of our PAVE student volunteers to the sandwich making event hosted by an organization called Tango Tab. Tango Tab organizes weekly Feed the City events where you can go and make sandwiches with a group of friends. And these sandwiches are then delivered to the, to the needy. But this particular day, it was a special event. It was an attempt to break the world record for the maximum number of sandwiches made in an hour. It was a crazy, crazy event, okay? We had, oh my gosh, it was so crowded. I think we had about 1,300 people come together. And in an hour, we made 57,000 plus sandwiches. And you can see in that picture, I'm holding and Amit and my younger son, Dave, we are holding the Guinness Book of World Record. And yes, so you can see that, volunteering can be so much fun. You make new friends, you can make a world record, and who knows what else? There are so many opportunities out there. And so that kind of, wraps up my talk on PAVE, and I'm going to hand it over to Amit to just wrap up the session.
So thanks everyone for staying with us. I know we've covered a lot. We've talked about, definitions of words like philanthropy and social entrepreneurship and how those have kind of, how you can kind of express those. We talked about what you can give. We talked about time, talent, treasure. We talked about how to kind of combine your passions with needs that exist in the community and find out where you fit in all of that. We talked about our PAVE program, philanthropy and volunteerism in entrepreneurship, where we kind of work with kids through that process of identifying their passions, finding the needs in their community and addressing them, while also developing leadership and communication skills that help them be better fundraisers, better volunteers, better nonprofit managers, better board members, whatever it might be. We try to instill the skills and qualities that those future leaders can have. And so we showed you some examples of our alumni who have done really incredible things. And so now I want to challenge you guys, if you could pull up the next slide, to find out what you can do next. And I've kind of made a little bit of an outline right here. I'd start by making philanthropy a part of your everyday life. Go back to the root word of philanthropy and say, this is, the love of mankind. Anything that I do to show that love is philanthropy. Anything I do to show someone that I care is philanthropy. So that could be holding a door open for someone whose hands are full, or it could be helping an old elderly person cross the street, or it could be introducing the new kid at school to your friends. And it could be the other things that we talked about. It can be volunteering with the nonprofit organization. It can be fundraising for a charity or a cause that is meaningful to you. And it can be, taking on the role of a social entrepreneur and creating a new organization or a new club at school or a new business that helps those in need. So make philanthropy a part of your everyday life. Try to find out in the small ways and the big ways how you can make other people's lives better. Second thing is to act like a social entrepreneur. Be creative, be innovative, and find out, just keep your ear to the ground and learn about your community. Listen to people's stories and find out what is happening. And it could be, you might learn that, there's no public transport. So it takes people, a couple hours for them to get to work. Or hunger is a really, what we talked about earlier, hunger is a really challenging issue because of even in very affluent areas. And, just trying to, the more you know about your community, the better you can help them. And the more creatively you can address those issues. And when you make philanthropy a part of your everyday life and you act like a social entrepreneur and take the responsibility upon yourself to do something about what you hear about and what you see, you can make the world a better place. And that's what we hope that you can kind of take away from our presentation today. And we would love, if you want more experience with being a philanthropist and everything, we encourage you to sign up for our PAVE program. As Ronnie mentioned, we will have summer programs in the future. We'll have intermittent programs with different school districts. So check out our website, check out our contact information, and get involved with PAVE, get involved with Philanthropy Kids. If you are already volunteering or already helping people, submit your stories, and we'd love to publish your story and share it with the world. Now, if Ronnie, if you have anything else to add, feel free. Otherwise, I think we can move to the Q&A part of this and kind of answer some of the questions that have come in through the through YouTube and through Facebook. So this is the first question, I think, is from Rupesh. Thank you so much for your time today. I think you are from TAMS. Amit, may I know how TAMS helped? How are you able to continue this awesome program even while in TAMS? So this is talking about the Texas Academy of Math and Science. This is a school based in Denton and affiliated with the University of North Texas that takes juniors and seniors in high school and puts them through a university program while pursuing their college or high school degree. It was actually a really cool experience, working on Philanthropy Kids while at TAMS. People love volunteering there and actually have, in some ways, more flexibility with their schedule because it is a university schedule to, find the time to volunteer and take on projects that they've, been involved with in the past. So I just want to know, because I want some tips on how to balance a nonprofit and the rigorous workload from a school like TAMS. The challenge is really finding out your schedule, and I think it's really important to make sure that you're focusing on school and things like that. That's kind of your full-time job as a young person. But there are when you're there on the weekend, or when Saturday morning at 8 a.m. It might be a little tough for you to wake up, but if you wake up, you now have a couple hours to go volunteer with an organization or do something. And if you reach out to different nonprofits, you can actually find customizable events and things like that. Maybe they say, hey, we have this event that happens on Thursday evenings, and I know that doesn't work with your schedule because you're studying for tests and stuff like that, but how about you can do this project at home and it'll still help us out. So,
and one thing I would like to add is the importance of connecting with your passion, because when you are passionate about something, however busy you are, you will find the time for that cause. And if you want to be engaged in a cause and make it sustainable, that is why it's very important that you do that research, really look inside, introspect and figure out that what is it that really matters to me. Because when you are engaged in something that matters to you, however busy you are, you will find the time.
Some of the other questions that are coming in, what are your goals for PAVE in the next, if you want to work with a nonprofit, what should I do? If you know the nonprofit that you want to work with, just go to their website and look under their About Us page or Contact Us page, and you'll typically get you'll either get an email that you can reach out to directly, and you can just say, hi, my name is, in your case, you can say, hi, my name is Anjali, and I want to volunteer with you guys. Can you send me more information? Or you might get a directory of names, and someone might have the title of volunteer coordinator, volunteer manager. You can email them directly and say the same thing. I want to get involved. Or how can I do that? And if you don't know about the nonprofit that you want to get involved in, you are also welcome. You can do a quick Google search, hunger nonprofits in Dallas-Fort Worth, or hunger nonprofits in Houston, Texas, or wherever you're from. A quick Google search will give you a couple of organizations doing good work, and you can do the same process. Go to their Contact Us page and find out how you can reach out to them. We're getting a question from Shriram that says, how do you measure the impact of philanthropic efforts? Example metrics. So there are a lot of ways to kind of measure philanthropy. One way is to say, as an individual, I like to say, did I enjoy the volunteer experience that I had? As a volunteer, that's a way to kind of see, is this a place that matches with my interests and my passions? But if you're creating a nonprofit, a way to kind of measure impact is kind of seeing the number of people that you serve. So if you are creating care packages to give to homeless kids, the number of care packages you make a month could be a good metric that shows the productivity of your nonprofit. And if you can distribute all of those, how many people you're directly helping. And if you know that I made 100, but I only was able to distribute 50, you know that there are now 50 people that you need to find to give them the care packages that you have. So I think looking at kind of if you're making a product, seeing how many of those products you can make. Another way to measure performance is to see how many volunteers you can get involved, because that's just, the more social it can be, the more fun and more sustainable those volunteer events tend to be. If people come with their friends and have a good time, they're more likely to come next time, because to them, they're having fun with their friends and they're helping people. And so if you can, measure how many people are coming to your events and actively volunteering, I think that's a good way to measure the success.
Yeah, and I think this is really a great question, because we really need to think of a nonprofit as a business. And when we are starting a business, we would create a business plan, right? And over there, we will right at the beginning of that venture, we will very clearly identify that what are the measures of success. And so it will, of course, differ from organization to organization, but I would highly encourage that at the very onset of the project, you set those goals. So one of the things that we talk about is setting SMART goals, right? And one of the things would be just that you set the goals, and also you set what metrics you would like to be measured for your success. Mm-hmm. All right, I think we are at time.
Yes, thank you both so much. It was a wonderful session. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. We will send you guys the rest of the questions at a later time so we can get our answers. Prakriti, would you like to conclude for us?
Yes. So thank you, Philanthropy Kids and PAVE, for the wonderful presentation. We were glad to have you here with us today. Thank you for sowing the seeds of philanthropy in the young minds of the members of the STF Youth Leadership Committee. Special thanks to Amit Banerjee for inspiring us today. I would also like to thank all the viewers for being an amazing set of audience. It was a pleasure hosting you. Lastly, a big thanks to the STF leadership team for their joint effort in making the 10th annual fundraiser event a grand success. I request everyone to please stay back for our next program by 3E Gen Z from 5 p.m. onwards.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.